Welcome to the Why Coaching Works podcast. My name is Monte Wyatt, and I'm here to take you on a journey into the world of coaching, exploring its many different facets and uncovering its profound impact on individuals, businesses, and executives alike. We'll be delving into real-life case studies combined with in-depth research from coaching experts to give you a better understanding of why coaching works today. So if you're ready to begin your exploration into the power of coaching, then let's get started. Before we start today's episode, here's a short message from Adding Zero's Executive Development. As CEO, you demand performance and results from your team. If you're committed to developing a cohesive, driven organization that achieves successful outcomes every single month, we need to talk. It's time to see how organizational and executive development from Adding Zeros can help. We focus on strategic planning, executive coaching, team alignment and engagement, organizational culture, and clarity of implementation. Contact me, Monte Wyatt, by booking an appointment at AddZerosNow.com. That's AddZerosNow, AddZerosNow.com. If you're ready, now is the time. I have 2 coaching spots available for 2024. Lock in your team today. Now let's begin today's episode. Welcome to the Why Coaching Works podcast, where we talk about the impact of coaching, growth of businesses, and personal development. I'm your host, Monte Wyatt. If you're a CEO, executive, or business owner, then this is the show for you. We call our audience the achiever because you're always chasing the next level. And I am excited to have a guest with us today that I wish I would have met 5 or 6 years ago. It would have helped my life and marriage greatly since I'm no longer married. So it's a great pleasure to me to have a gentleman who's been a pastor. He's dated porn stars. He's seen many walks of life that can relate to anything that works today that gets your wife attracted to you again. And he coaches men on reigniting marriages. I'm looking forward to having that conversation. And so please welcome founder and CEO of The Married Game, Keith Yackey. Keith, welcome to join the show.
Oh, Monty, thanks for having me, man. Let's get into what every guy wants to talk about, is how do I get more sex from my wife and how do I feel more wanted? I mean, is that not the question most men are asking, especially achievers?
That's a heck of a question. I think you're exactly right. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me on. I love that you call the guys and gals listen here achievers, because that's kind of how I look at myself, as a high performer, a high achiever, somebody who's going after the next level, because I know I have that potential. I know if there's an elite marriage, I want it. If I can become an elite businessman, I want to. If I can have an elite body, I want it. And I know, and I've spent enough time doing this work in creating elites in pretty much every area of my life. Who you become in the process is like the gold. It's like it's the person that you start to go, wow, I'm proud of myself because I did that, because there was work involved, there was investment involved, there was exposing myself to having to be honest with myself and realizing that exposure is the gateway to expansion. So coming on to a show like this and talking to that person who I believe I am, and I like being talked to a certain way, and it's truthfully and honestly, and tell me what's really going on. Don't sugarcoat it, because I know that the people who have loved me and the most in my life have told me the truth. And while it stung, I got to realize, well, shit, I'm the problem.
Yep.
But they also breathed into me that I'm also the solution. And that is the whole energy with which everything we talk about is, if the problem that you're experiencing in your marriage is your wife doesn't initiate sex or doesn't enthusiastically participate in sex, or, she seems to care more about the spreadsheets than the bed sheets. Well, you've created that problem of how you've shown up. She's no longer attracted to you the way she was. And now this is a beautiful problem that we get to solve that most men have not solved. And it is damn right frustrating. So I'm here to talk about that in a way that I think that they will be like, this dude's a straight shooter. And thanks for bringing him on, Monty. That's my goal today, I hope.
Well, wonderful. I'd love to hear first and have you share with our audience, how'd you get started in coaching men to begin with? How did you get into this practice?
Yeah, by accident. But I've been a coach in other things. So I've believed in coaching since I was 15 years old. well, actually, probably since I was 5 years old, I grew up playing a lot of athletics. So I always had a coach. And I think by growing up that way, you realize a coach, he's on your team. He wants to win and he wants you to be a part of that winning. And so you take criticism way more constructively than you do for people who are not involved or not used to that container. And so I had always had that container, but man, when I wanted to build muscle, I knew exactly what to do. Hire a coach. When I wanted to learn how to make money and flip real estate and learn how to, run my own business, I knew exactly what to do. I hired a coach. When I lost my wife 8 years ago because I was being a dodo bird, I knew exactly what to do. Hire a coach. What I didn't realize, though, is that I would end up becoming a coach, but it happened so much by accident that when I got my wife back after she left, after hiring 3 coaches, I didn't necessarily believe they actually went through what I was going through or had been through what I've been through. But some of the psychology with which they said resonated enough to where I was able to put in some practice what they were talking about, that my friends started sending me after I got my wife back and we started building this beautiful, loving relationship. My friends who all own businesses like, hey, dude, my head of sales guy just got served divorce papers. You think you can help him? And I'm like, I think so. Send them over. And so that's my first 10 clients were just my friends sending me people that worked for them or friends that they knew, because my friends were intimately involved when I lost my wife. My 4 best friends now, 3 of my 4 best friends now knew me and walked through me losing my wife 8 years ago and them all going, Keith, you're such a dodo bird. And so when I flipped it around, they're like, well, shit, if Keith can flip it around, dude, we can send him our hardest. We can send him some of these other ones. Like, come on. And that's, I had a 100% success rate with those guys.
That's awesome.
And what they became. And so I was like, well, I really got something here. And then this is where it all kicked off. I moved to Dana Point about 5 years ago, and I started surfing with a guy by the name of Garrett J. White, and he works with a lot of men's. He's like a men's coach to a lot of guys. He had like 65,000 people come through his program. We started surfing just as friends. I wasn't interested in his business. I had my own business doing my own thing, but we started surfing every day, literally every single day. And for years, it ended up being for like 4 years. But about 2 weeks in, he asked my opinion about something, about a married guy, whatever. And I had the answer for him. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. And then like the next day we'd surf and he'd be like, hey, I got another situation that came up. How would you respond to this one? I'm like, oh, did you say this, this, this? He's like, no. Well, why would I say that? I go, well, because this is the psychology of what's happening. This is probably what happening. He goes, fuck, that's exactly what happens. This happened for months. He would bring me situations. He's got thousands and thousands of clients. 85% of them weren't happy with the quantity or quality of sex within their marriage. And next thing you know, he's like, what would you say here? I'm like, oh, dude, that's this, asking this. And Garrett's going, bro, how do you fucking know all this? I'm like, well, first of all, I've had sex with hundreds of women. So I understand attraction. But the one woman I actually tried to keep, I lost her because I didn't understand long-term attraction. I only understood short-term attraction. So I could see all the dynamics happening no matter what. And he was like, bro, do you think you could teach this shit to married men? And like, do you think you could like teach game to married guys? He goes, dude, you should call it marriedgame.com. He came up with the whole idea. But he goes, I've only slept with one person in my life, 2 people. He goes, dude, you know the answers. So we were already like we became really, really deep friends at this point. And so he's like, can I send you 20 guys? 20 guys that struggle with this problem. I said, sure, send them to my way. 16 of the 20 got amazing results. The other 4 said they didn't do the work and they said, nah, we're not doing this. He goes, bro, do you know what you have here? Like you have solved the problem that every guy wants solved in his life, especially achievers, especially businessmen, especially married dudes with kids. Married businessmen with children, oh my gosh, he calls it the trifecta of insanity. And I think that guys, we all get that. And so that's what really jump started all this. And you know, want to hear the craziest thing? this is all over our marketing. But a year ago, he came to me in his darkest hour of his marriage and has gone on record many times to say, Keith Yackey saved my marriage. So the dude that gave the guy the name Married Game and showed me, bro, what you know about how male and female work, and tested it on a bunch of married dudes. Now we've had hundreds of them come through and thousands more about just the digital products, or listen to our episodes and send us all these beautiful testimonials, and my marriage has changed. All the stuff that makes us as coaches, our just hearts light up. It like reinvigorates us every time I watch something like that. And here he was in his darkest hour, and he got to realize that the nuance and the depth of what we're really talking about, down to the very kernel of the core of his being. And he's now running ads on porn sites and social media for my company as our chief testimonial as an affiliate, because of what the work we've done. So that, talk about a full circle event. You asked it. That's the story, how we got in. That's how we're doing what we're doing. And you could tell I'm a little fired up. We're having a good time doing it, Monte.
I love it. It's just hearing you and the stories that you've got. I'm excited to hear what little twists and little tips that you're giving to men that us normal guys just we don't get. We don't get it. And you said it was a trifecta. You're married, you got kids, you got a business. It's a trifecta of insanity. And we're after a certain level of success, and there's things that slip. And that's the challenge, I think, that happens today, is that people let things slip, and we don't know how to address it.
Okay. Well, then, listen, if you can count to 5, I'm your guy. and here's what I did. I came up with, I started realizing this. Now, this was 8 years ago when Jessie left me. I had to have a couple of big truths that hit me like a frying pan across the face when she left. Number one, we were moving into our dream house together. We had a 2-year-old daughter, and she basically said, yes, I'm going to help you move in, but I'm not staying. And she basically said, my life would be better without you in it. That's how bad it had gotten between my wife and I at the point. And I'm going to show you by these 5 dials what I had dropped off that most men drop off. And if you just change these, like what I realized at the bottom of all of this, Monte, and I hope everybody listening really pays close attention, because it's this simple. If your wife isn't having sex with you and is eager and doesn't feel like she wants you the way that she did when you were dating, it's simply because she's lost attraction for you. And I'm not just saying like she thinks you're ugly or anything. She's no longer pulled into who you are. She's repelled away. She's like, rather than like a magnetic attraction being yanked in, she's actually being pushed off. And that's what a man is feeling when he's feeling rejected. He's going, dude, my wife doesn't even want me anymore. Yeah, she doesn't, because she's lost attraction for you, which is one of 2 things. You either stop doing the attractive things you used to do, or you started doing unattractive things. And the same thing, like, I don't believe women, I'm wanting you to understand my core belief system around this. So when I set these 5 things up, you're going to understand, oh shit, this dude just set the table for me, because now we're eating a gourmet feast. So this mentality is, okay, wait a second. You're her type. She chose you in the beginning, and she didn't have a choice. I don't think women have, they don't choose who they're attracted to. The same way you and I really don't. There's just some girls you look at and you go, I'm not attracted to that. And then there's some girls you meet and you go, I am highly attracted to this. It's not that it's something within us that goes, ooh, she had that for you in the beginning. And most guys are like, dude, I wish I had sex. Like, I wish I had sex now like we had it when we were dating. And most guys have thrown the dating out, but they want just the sex. And so we'll put that together in a second, which most guys get. But it's like, dude, they go hand in hand like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's not just peanut butter toast around here. We got to have both. We got to have the stickiness and the sweetness. But with that being said, she's going, okay, I married this dude. I had all these feelings. And then he starts being unattractive. Those same biological chemicals start to drain out of her system, to where she now just looks at her man and just goes like, dude, we're roommates. Like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Like, I don't think about you that way. My sex drive isn't that high towards you, are the nice things that she says. But really what most women would like to say if they knew this, and that is, I'm no longer attracted to you. And it's all down to attraction. That makes everything go. Attraction is the glue. Attraction is the thing that makes you literally stay up at night thinking about this human, wanting to text them how much you love them, wanting to. Every song on planet Earth has been written about this. It's that attraction that we feel. And contrary to societal beliefs, it can grow. It can grow. We believe that honeymoon sex is for minor leaguers. Our sex gets better and better the longer we're together. And so we believe that's the norm. And from that premise, we go, okay, listen, there's this masculine, feminine energy. Man, every man knows true feminine energy. If he tastes an ounce of it, it just cleanses his soul.
Hmm.
Am I not right?
Absolutely right.
It's the greatest thing to drink in on planet Earth for a man. And that feminine spirit that tells his man, I want you, I believe in you, I support you, you're the best, let's go, we're a team. But most guys are feeling the criticism, the critique, that you're not enough, and don't touch me. And all he's doing is going, where did I go wrong? What happened? Where did I go wrong, man? Like, I'm out here busting my ass. I'm protecting, I'm providing, I'm producing. Why can't I get any affection or any femininity coming towards my way? And it's based off of this. So he's like, I'm doing all this for her, and she doesn't understand. She's over here going, I feel so neglected because this guy, all he cares about is money and building this and achievement. And we used to just be friends, and a date to the Costco just to, eat samplers and get one of their beautiful chicken bakes or their $10 pizza that can feed a whole city. Like, that used to be fun for us. But now she feels super neglected. He feels totally rejected. And then they don't know what to do. And nobody's talking about the real core truth of this is, well, 95% of the time, the reason she doesn't want the guy is because the guy has become unwantable.
Hmm.
So with that table set, if you can count to 5, I've got 5 very simple things a guy can do and understand and re-see that will change everything about his marriage.
Well, I'm ready. I can count to 5.
Okay, man. Number 1, I call them the 5 dials. And if the listener wants to play along at home, if they do this thing that will take them 12 seconds to do, it will have about 10x effect on their life right now. And it's this: when we go through these dials, rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. So 5 dials, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I've given them about 2.5 to 3 seconds to answer each. So a total of about 12.5 to 15 seconds. And it will like illuminate for their eyes, oh my God, the reason my wife doesn't want to have sex with me is I'm a D+ husband. I'm a C- husband. Shit, I'm an F husband. Dude, no wonder she's been acting like a not that great of a version of her towards me. So this is important if we do this. Okay, first dial. The dial number 1 that every woman is looking at their man and judging him on is, how good of a parent is he? How good of a parent? Or does she feel like a single mom and the only one taking on this parenting task? And what I've discovered is that the reason why they lose attraction or gain attraction for their husband really being plugged in to their children and actually co-parenting and actually being there and instructing and nurturing and mentoring and guiding and loving, and not just being the guy that goes, shut up and get over there and blah, 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 but really like taking an active role as a leader. Well, it makes sense, dude. She spent 9 months making this thing. She delivered it to the world. Her only heartbeat on earth is to protect this kid to survive until it thrives. Everything else is 100% secondary to it. And your wife is going to love those kids more than she will ever love you 100% of the time. And the reason I know this is simple. Moms don't divorce kids. They divorce dads 100% of the time. So I was a really shitty father. Like it didn't dawn on me that it might be okay, it might be good every once in a while to wake up with the baby in the middle of the night so my wife can get some rest. It didn't dawn on me that maybe you change more than 6 poopy diapers. It didn't dawn on me that it's okay for me to help get my daughter ready for when we're going out. I don't have to just wait on my wife to do all that. It didn't dawn on me that, dude, you know what? I could go make my daughter a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what? It didn't dawn on me that I could take my daughter to the park for 4 or 5 hours while my wife just relaxed because the kids are in her hair and she's in PTA meetings and stepping on Lego. Like it didn't even dawn on me that I could have showed up as a teammate and a partner in that way. So I'd give myself about a 2 out of 10. That was almost 8 years ago. Here we are, 8 years later, and dude, my wife can go with her mom and they can go away for the weekend. And I got my 9-year-old daughter, and my 9-year-old daughter's like, oh my gosh, it's just dad and I this weekend. Let's go. We're gonna have the best time. So this parenting dial, it's not that it so much makes your wife really attracted to you because you're a great dad, but it is so much that if you aren't showing up, there's a lot of backlash on that. And so scale of 1 to 10, what do we rate ourselves as a parent? Your wife is watching, looking, and cares deeply.
That's an amazing dial. I love that one.
Yeah. You ready for dial number 2?
Absolutely.
All right. This is the partner dial. Now this dial, oh, Monte, this dial is deceivingly simple, but incredibly important. And the reason I call it the partner dial is because it's really more like the best friend dial. Does your wife feel like you're her best friend? Or does she feel like she has to only tell you certain stories about her life because the other ones would bore you and you wouldn't want to hear them? Or this losing themselves in you, and this not really asking questions. It's not just, hey, how was your day? But it's, hey, I knew you were going to talk to your mom about that really touchy subject today. How did the conversation go? What did she say? Tell me more. Get interested, actually care, be curious, be attentive, give her your actual full, not fucking phone in your face attention, but actual attention. I always say this, the amount of attention your wife should receive from you is the same attention you have when you're on a sales call trying to get somebody to do whatever it is. Like if you have that level of attention, your wife's heart will just feel so connected. And one of the major rules we believe in is that connection outside the bedroom equals to connection inside the bedroom. And so the way a wife feels neglected is by there being no emotional connection. No emotional connection means you're not having any conversation. I always say guys get blue balls, but ladies get blue tongue, man. All they want to do is they just want to talk and share, and they want you to receive and ask questions. And if any guy's like, well, how the hell do you do that? You go eavesdrop on her listening to her mom, her sister, or her best friend. And the guys go, well, I'm a guy, I'm not supposed to do that. You don't have to do this, but if you want to get blowjobs on tap and anal on Tuesday, then you might want to listen up. And hey, was that too much, Monte? Your face is that well, too much for?
We are the achievers, so yes.
Okay, so it's like, hey, if you want her to really want you, and that's really what guys say, that I want my wife to like actually want to be there and actually act like she's excited about this thing like I am, not just, hey, let me just throw this to him so we can keep him, satisfied. Guys want this, but if you want this, you have to be able to connect to a woman's soul. There's no other way around it. If you want her whole, you got to connect to the soul.
I love that. That's good.
This best, and by the way, just for listeners at home, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jessie, my wife, said, I feel so lonely being married to you, more lonely than if I was single. So I would have got like a 1 or 2 out of 10 on that one. So I'm shooting 2 for 10. I'll give myself another 2 for 10. So I'm 2 for 10 is where I was at 8 years ago.
Yep.
which is the funniest thing to think of where we're at now. It's just hilarious. Believe me, we're all laughing too. But it goes to show if a dum-dum can figure this out from the basest, darkest level, losing his wife and getting her back, and then building this thing that is just lust-filled and fun and light and touchy and all the things that a guy I want, and she has all the things that she wants. It's got to be built off of very simple steps. So, dude, are you a great parent? Dude, are you her best friend? Third one is the producer dial. And that is, are you producing? Like your wife, an attractive man is a man who's achieving. He sees something, and a woman too. He sees something, he says he's going to go get it, and he goes after it. And so I have just discovered this was the dial I was great at. I was a 9 out of 10 probably when Jesse left me. And what was interesting about that is I had the I'm doing this all for you guys routine, which most guys feel is true, except my wife countered it with something that was more true, which was, yeah, but you're not around. We never see you. So as long as you're doing this for us, just know you never see us. So how does that, if you're doing this for us, but you never see us, how does that math work in your head, Keith Yackey? And the answer is apparently not very fucking good, because she left and she's like, this is it. I mean, dude, when she packed up the U-Haul and left, I realized basically right there, I'm the problem, I'm the solution. And I realized to become attractive, the only way it's attractive is if you become attractive for you. Like my standard is I have to look this way. Why? Because it's within my power. My standard is I'm going to smell this way. Why? Because it's in my power. I'm going to excel at my business. Why? It's in my power. I'm going to excel in the things that I have literally, I can choose to do. I'm going to do that. And so this is this drivenness, this ambition. Every single guy, and I really harp on the guys. I say it's 95% the guy's problem, because I believe that a woman reflects where he's at. So if I'm a C or a D, my wife is going to be that mirror and reflect back that behavior to me. And I go, whoa, 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 before you throw her out or before you leave, the goal is become a fucking A version of you. Become the A version. If you become the A version, give her some time to where then she can go, okay, wait a second. I actually don't need to be all naggy and critical to this guy because he does everything he says he's going to do. Hey, yeah, he goes like hard like crazy and he's really into his business, but when he comes home, he puts his phone down and he's dad and he's husband and he's fun and he's alive. And damn, no wonder his clients love him. Because if he treats his clients the way he treats us, who wouldn't want to be around this guy? That is the standard. And that's another one of our sayings that's so powerful. And that is her response does not dictate my standard. And what happens is a lot of guys try these pseudo solutions out there. And I think you know which ones I'm speaking of. Do more around the house, do more chores, buy her gifts, say yes more, happy wife, happy life at any cost. These types of things, have you heard these?
Oh, yeah.
And every guy that I've ever talked to has tried them. And all of them have said, it never works. And here's why. It's not that the actions are wrong. They're right. It's the attitude behind the actions. The attitude behind is, I'm going to do this so I can get something from you. It's taker energy. Whereas what I'm saying is, if you're going to do those things, do them because that's your standard. And that now is giver energy. Anybody who is with me is going to get this. Why? Because you're with me. This is the level I play at. What woman wouldn't be like, oh my God, I would do anything for this man. Look at, he's so wantable. He's so attractive. He's not doing this, hey, did you see this? Because what happens for a lot of guys is they drop into what we call the mom matrix. And the mom matrix is where they go, I'm doing this thing, hoping to get like a pat on the head, like a cookie or a nookie or a gold star. Problem is moms don't want to have sex with their kids. So if you want to become one of her kids, you can do that, but don't expect her to be like wanting to lust after you. Do you see the difference here?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And so this leadership and stewardship over resources, money in our society brings with it status. The reason why women like guys with money is because they are valuable. You only make money if you're valuable to the world. The reason why people pay us so much to go through our program, there's other programs out there that are cheaper than ours, but we have a 100% success rate, and we have a 100% money back guarantee that if you do the work and it doesn't work, I don't want your fucking money. And what I do know is I'm going to put you through an entire process that when you come out the other end, you are going to be a very different man who goes, dude, I don't do any of this to get laid. I do this because this is who I am. And because this is who I am, I get laid a lot. That's the energy of what we're trying to communicate with the Gospel of Married game is, guys, you have 100% control over all this. And here's the beautiful thing. If you become this guy, which if you follow these 5 dials, and we'll hit a couple more here in just a second, and you become this, you become what we call a provocateur. It's why I wore this shirt, so you guys can see it. A provocateur is a man who provokes his wife to lust after him. She can't help it. She's not like, oh, I got to go service Keith tonight. I know he gets all cranky with his ball sack full, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's like, no. She's like, dude, I hope he's got some energy tomorrow morning because I love this guy. And I know what morning sex really fires him up. So I want to make sure I bless him, and I always get blessed in the process. Like this is the energy, the give and the take, and the oneness that we should and could be experiencing. But guys are now doing this for approval, and it's becoming off desperate and needy and approval seeking to where she's just like, dude, where's the man that I fell in love with that I was like, I'm hitching my horse to this wagon. Let's go. This is the essence of what I'm talking about.
You are very insightful. I love these dials. I love how you're positioning it. And these are not natural to men. These are not natural to men. That it's a new way of thinking, in my opinion. So I appreciate it. Keep going.
Yeah, thank you, man. It works. I don't know why the infinite intelligence decided, let's take the dude who was the biggest one night stand guy ever, put him in a relationship with his love of his life. He doesn't know how to handle. I just didn't know how to handle her. And then figure all these crazy nuances up and then build this electric marriage, and then run into a guy while I'm surfing who says, hey, I think you might be able to solve some people's problems. And here we are. And you're calling me insightful. That's just as fucking this is the comedy of the ages, man. I fucking love it, but it works. So let's keep going. Okay. Dial number 4. This is okay. Scale of 1 to 10, parent. Scale of 1 to 10, partner. Scale of 1 to 10, producer. Now, I was a 9 out of 10 on that one. So I'm an achiever. I like making money. I like leather seats. I like nice shit. And that was not the problem. But this next one was in a big way. And it's the player dial. Now, the player dial is, as the word suggests, play. When couples stop playing, it's the end of the road for them. We came together for fun. Every woman getting ready, talking to her mom, her sister, her girlfriend, getting ready to go on a first date with you was something like, I don't know, this should be, I hope this is fun. Should be fun. Nobody says, I cannot wait to go be bored. No one. And yet, it's like a guy lands the girl and then switches who he was. And now they're no longer going on dates. They're no longer having fun. They're no longer laughing or flirting in the kitchen. They're no longer, saying little jokes to each other and tapping each other on the butt, or, saying inside jokes to each other from the office. And, when you're yelling from down the hall and you go, hey, yo, Jesse. And she goes, yes. And you're like, dude, really? I love you. Like this fun flow back and forth. What happens is men become defensive. Women start getting neglected. Then they start chirping at their man going, dude, they don't know how to say, I miss you. I'm alone without you. I actually really like being around you, but I feel like you're falling away from me. They don't say that. They start critiquing and getting angry and getting mad. Guy then gets defensive. I'm not those things. Do you know how hard I work for you around? Why can't I get a blowjob around here? And she goes, I would never want to give you a blowjob. You're a fucking dick and you neglected me and I'm going to go see my mom. And then he's like, this woman, this woman. It's like every married man situation I've ever met. It's like, doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that way at all. In fact, that's not natural. That's weeds. We got to cut the weeds out and what is this garden we have? The garden we have is a garden built on fun. Fun is the foundation. Fun is the fountainhead. If you nail fun, everything else will flow from there. It is the wellspring. Here's why. It's what every relationship started off and every relationship based off. And the reason why the first date became a second and the second became a third was because it was just so fun being around this person. They get me. They understand me. I found my person. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've known this person forever. We hear all these things. And yet, we have kids, the work, the office, and we start taking each other for granted. We stop taking each other out. We stop being there for each other and laughing and giggling and just playing impromptu and spontaneous, and we start to become cold. And our inner fun human being gets out. And what guys need to understand is what the great American poet Cyndi Lauper so eloquently said, and that is girls just want to have fun. They want to have fun. And when a guy stops creating fun for his wife, she stops wanting to be fun for him. And this is how the sex starts to go away. And the reason I talk about sex is because it's the fruit of the marriage. It's the fruit on the tree. It's the thing that you go, this is connected. But we don't need to learn new sex moves. Trust me, two people that want to touch their flesh together, anything will get them very excited if their hearts are connected. It's not the fruit we need to inspect. It's the root. What's going on at the root? Does she feel like you're fun anymore? Do you take her on a date? Is she important? Does she have your attention? Do you show up as the man used to be? This one is like, for me, my wife met me at 185 pounds of tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire, 6-pack abs. And I was getting a lot of action. When she left me, I was 245 pounds. I bait and switched her. Here, marry this stud, and then let me add on 60 pounds, neglect the shit out of you, make you feel totally alone, stop going on dates with you, and why don't you want to have sex with me? I'll pout in the corner until you do. What the fuck happened to me?
Right.
Yeah, well, I lost that playful edge, that life is a gift. Every breath, gratitude is gasoline, and really showing up and saying, what kind of fun can we get into this weekend? I'm going to take my wife on a date. But Keith, I got kids. I got them. I got 4 of my own and a niece that lives with us. I get what kids are. I understand that. I've got a lot of little eyes and mouths, and my kids are now grown, 26, 23, 20, 17, and 9. So I got all the spectrums. I got my sons wanting to learn game, and I got my daughter trying to see if I'll play Xbox with her. I got all in between. And what I do understand is that if I want to have sex the same way as when I was dating my wife, I should be dating my wife. And that's how my wife and I feel. Like, we go on dates, we let our hair down. We go, like, I always say the new standard for a date should be this. It doesn't have to be every date night, but this should be something you're looking to do. This is our standard. You don't have to live by it, but if you want what I got, here's the standard. It's real simple. Imagine right now you're single, and the hot chick from high school slides into your DM and says, hey, big boy, looks like life is good. We should catch up. And you're like, you look amazing. Sounds great. Yeah, it's a date. I'll pick you up at such and such. How do you show up for that date? What date do you plan? Where do you take her? What do you do? That is the standard. Because guess what? You put a lot of effort in. Why? You wanted to get laid. Why? Because you knew you couldn't just show up in your gym shorts, smelling like shit, and saying, hey, let's go over to fucking Home Depot and pick up some parts for the house and swing by a Chick-fil-A and I'll drop you off. So we know the reward is worth the effort. Why did we stop giving the effort and still expect the reward? It doesn't work that way. And dude, it's way more fun going on dates with this wife that now flirts with you and dances with you and does all the things you want because she's so madly in love with you. She'll follow any path of pleasure you ever want to take her on. Well, I say this next word, your sphincter is going to tighten up if it hasn't already. You ready, Monte? And every listener is going to as well. And this is on purpose.
I'm ready. Go for it.
I can't hardly stop laughing. I'm looking at your face and I can see you bracing for it. My wife and I desire and are keen to fulfill each other's sexual fantasies. And some guys are like, do you talk to your wife about that? Who the fuck else am I supposed to talk to about it? That's what we want for each other. Why? Because I want her happy and pleasure. I want her to live her experience of this life to the fullest that she can, and she wants it for me. So we're seeking, how do we create that for each other? What a beautiful opportunity and a bond that you can have with this person. And most men are like, how is that even possible? You got to be playful and date her again.
Mm-hmm.
You got to shed that dad bod. You got, listen, if you want her to treat you like a stud, you've got to be a stud. Band-Aid ripped off. There it is. You want stud muffin results? Become the most studly version of you. And whatever that means, dude, she married you because she thought you were a stud. You don't have to look like me, talk like me, act like me. You have to be you. She didn't marry me. She married you. Be the best version of you and do it for you. So that way, this needing attachment that we have, she's like, dude, he doesn't need me. He wants me. And not only that, but the lever that I learned from short-term attraction to long-term attraction is very simple. When you're single, the one piece of leverage you have is that you have options. They know they are one of many vying for your attention because of who you are. A woman will do anything to get the attention of the man that has every other woman's attention. Now, when you get married, most guys go, well, I don't have that. See, but no. You do have it. It's called the perception of options. And what the perception of options is very simple. Your wife realizes not only was he the man, he still is the man. And if I don't show up in a way that's respectful and honoring and loving and filling his love tank the way he's filling mine, he just won't put up with this low standard in his life. I will be asked to leave and I will no longer be worthy to be his co-partner. That's just how it works. It can sound however it wants, but the gazelle doesn't get to cry to God, why did you make the lion bigger, stronger, and with more sharp claws? That's just how it the fucking is. That's the law of the jungle. The law of the jungle is very simple. Dude, be a man with such a high standard that won't accept anything less and watch that lady rise to that standard. And if she doesn't, then you have the blessing and honor and privilege to open yourself back up to someone who does, so that you don't ever have to suffer this, you dragging somebody along and hating you for who you are. You get to be all of you, the most beautiful version of you. And most guys are afraid to become that because they're afraid to be alone, because they're afraid they don't know who they really are inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason they can't lead others is because they haven't led themselves. So they don't know how to be playful because everything's a dreary and a work and a job and everything's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yo, dude, it's a different way. And it's the way you won her. It's the way you got her. Stick with that. Stay fun. Remember shit. Plan fun stuff. You don't have to be funny, but you are clearly fun enough for her to say, I will for you forever. She made a lifelong commitment to you, man. Don't let her down. Don't be a fucking boring dude. All right. That's the fourth dial. Scale of 1 to 10. I had become a 1 on this. And yet my essence and why my wife and I married each other in the first place was we had so much fun together. I'm a 10 out of 10 when it comes to player dial now.
Mm.
And I realized that's the thing. Having fun. All right. fifth dial if we're ready for it.
You bet.
Fifth dial is the power dial. This is a dial a lot of guys really trip up on. And power dial, if I was to sum it up in one statement, every guy is going to go, yeah, I do that. And then I'll qualify it. And there will be no guy here that says he does this, myself included. The essence of standing and having personal power is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it without fault. No exception. If you say you're going to do something, that person, next time they show up, it will be done. You say you're going to be home at 5, you're not home at 5:18. When somebody asks you to get something, you get it. When you say, hey, I'll handle that, you handle it. When you, whatever it is, your word is so impeccable that she trusts that what you say is true. Because here's what most guys actually don't keep their word. I was this guy. I did not keep my word. We moved into a house and she says, hey, can you hang that painting on the wall? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. 2 weeks later, yeah, I'll get to it. 2 weeks later, yeah, I'll get to it. 2 months later, finally did it. How can she trust that what I say I'm going to do, I actually do? And what we've discovered is when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. Because she goes, I can't trust that anything this guy says. He said he was going to be home at 5 and he's home at 5:15, 5:30 every day. And it's always an excuse. Always, I'm sorry, I'm late, and this, and that, and so this, and this, and this. And what that looks like to her is, oh, this is a man that's so out of control of his life, he can't even keep his word at the time. What a weak man. How can I trust this guy? He can't even do the simplest of thing and be somewhere at the time he says he's going to be. Wow. I married a loser. And that's what they feel. This is why they start getting so resentful. I married a guy that can't even, most guys are like, my word is my bond. Go ask your wife if she actually trusts that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. Most men here, his wife, if they're honest, are going to be like, only if he likes it. Only if it's something that he doesn't miss his fucking, fishing time or his game time or his tea time. But if it has something to do with me, he's late. How do you think that makes a woman feel? How would that even make you feel if that was your best friend? It was just a dude. You would like stop wanting to show up. Here's more. This power dial is when a man, he starts acting desperate and needy. He's afraid to ask for sex because he's been rejected so often. A lot of guys relate to that. They've been so rejected, they just get tired of asking. And when they do ask and they get rejected, they get pouty and passive aggressive. But they don't know a better way. They don't know that's how you would feel because he's fucking rejected again. Like, I'm doing all this, especially achievers. This is why I love these podcasts, because achievers, they're used to creating abundance and getting what they want through their sheer will and desire and ambition and drive. They're going to get what they want. But there's this one area that's locked up, and nothing they do, nothing they try opens it up. And the harder they try, the more it's closed. No wonder so many men feel this. And when they hear me talk, they go, if I just heard the results of what you're talking about, Keith, it sounds unbelievable. Like it can't really happen. But once they hear me break it down, like you're hearing me right now, you go, oh, wait a second. That actually could work. Of course, that's actually how it works, because you're now reflecting back on how you got your wife or how you got your spouse. How did you get them in the beginning? You're like, oh shit, I was market ready. I was the best available version of me, so I could attract the best available version for me. And yet, boom, we started sliding down the hill, slide, little here, little there, little there, little here, little there. And it's like, yo, dude, a woman can only put up with so much. And my wife left following the one principle that we teach, and that is leaving is the leverage. My wife leaving me was the leverage that woke me up. And that's a lot of the times a man is starting to feel his wife leave, connected wise, energetically, physically. They're laying in bed, yet, there's pillows up, kids in the way, or just an invisible wall that feels like, 17 feet wide. And a guy just gets to the point where he's like, I don't even know what the hell to do. Like, and I feel like I'm in prison. And I don't, and everything that he tries based off of the taker energy model, he feels disempowered. So he's like, how can you feel powerful when you're getting rejected all the time? And he doesn't know what does it mean to have power? Does power mean that he'll be able to command her to do it? But he goes, I don't want that, because she'll sometimes just give it to me out of pity, and I hate that. That doesn't feel right. So he said, what is power? And it's like, the power is the power that you'll have enough self-respect that you're going to do something about something you don't like. And if it doesn't turn out the way you think, you're willing to walk away. You're powerful enough to forget any dogma that your church taught you, to forget any dogma that your family taught you, to forget any dogma that the TV and Hollywood taught you, and to just get right into you saying, hold on a second. I got a short life. I don't want to spend it arguing with a lady. I don't want to spend it begging somebody to love me. Because that's what it feels like for a guy. When he doesn't get sex, he feels like he's begging her to love him. Like that,
Yep.
when it boils down to it. And she doesn't like that, because how weak does that look? And he knows he's super disempowered, and he doesn't know any other way. And the way is, no, you got to get, I always say, you want to get your ex back or the sex back, you got to get your backbone and your ball sack back. And that's why the become the most attractive version of you for you is so powerful, because I'm not doing it for her. Because you didn't become the version of you who you needed to be for her, because you didn't know her. She met you at that tip-top version of you. You didn't do it for her. You did it for you, or maybe some other her. But at least it wasn't for her, so that she was able to attract and go, man, I am in the presence of a fucking man. Wow, I'm going to be protected. I'm going to be provided for. I'm going to be seduced. I'm going to be able to trust this man so much that I'm going to be able to crack open my soul and let all that inner ooey gooey goodness that he loves out, because I'm protected and I'm safe. And it's with a man who's not defensive. But when I can tell him, hey, I'm not feeling loved, he doesn't go, what do you mean you don't feel loved? You know how much I work for you, and blah, 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 and invalidates her and makes her feel like she's crazy. And she's like, dude, I just want to be with a guy that would listen to me and be like, yeah, man, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. And she goes, wow, you actually fucking care. Women are so easy, dude. They're the most simplest fucking creatures on planet Earth. They just want to be loved. They want attention more than anything. And it's not that fucking hard to give it. It's not that hard to give it. It's an investment. And the ROI on this investment is the return of intimacy. She now can open up her soul to you. And that's what every man wants, is his wife to open up her soul, and wants to open up her soul to him, so he can feel that, so that when the trust goes up, the lust goes up. And she is initiating. She's rubbing her leg up and down his leg under the table. She's tapping him on the leg going, hey, when we're getting out of dinner, I want you in the back of the Escalade. Like, every guy wants these experiences, and there is a way to get them. And it's you becoming this dude, what we call a provocateur. I'm dedicated every single day. I will do my 5 dials. I will be a fantastic parent to my daughter. I will be an incredible partner to my wife. I will be a badass achieving producer, because why wouldn't I be? I'm going to be playful in my marriage. I'm going to send memes to my wife. I'm going to take her on dates. I'm going to look good. I'm going to walk by and her go, whoa, you're going out in the world looking like that? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. Aren't you lucky that I'm coming home to you? Yes, I am. All right, we'll have a good day, my love. And then stand in your power. When you do what you say you're going to do, you don't throw fits and act pouty. You don't edit who you are to not offend somebody, but you just are, and you stand in who you are, and you are what you are, and you love who you are, because you put the work in, and you've achieved a version of yourself that will not drop below the standard at all. That is the guy that will get whatever he wants with his wife sexually. Anything you ask. That is what Married Game is all about, man.
I love your 5 dials. It's so clear. It's so simple. And I got to say this, I've been divorced for 4 years, and now I'm a single guy, and I'm looking at these 5 dials going, how do I fulfill these 5 dials as a single guy? How do I make sure that I'm doing these today? How am I being the best version of myself every single day to express these? And that's a new challenge for me.
Good, man. We've had single guys, and we have them in our program currently right now. They just come in and go, dude, what you sound like, I want to be that guy so I can attract that wife right from the get-go. So can I join? I was like, yeah, let's test it out. Let's see. And the guys love it. They're coming in, they're getting, it turns out a provocateur has a lot of success in the wild. I mean, like, not a little bit of success, a lot. And we've had multiple guys come through, because here's the other thing that happened is sometimes guys would come in and they would realize, yeah, they finally cleaned their side of the street, and then their wife does not want to rise up with them. They want to stay low. And the guy is, it's not like he's like, oh, I got to leave my wife. He's like, no, I'm leaving her because that's a standard I won't live at anymore. And so these guys become single, and, you know, we've worked with them, and there's no lack of love for any of the guys that come through here. They all understand who they are. We have a phrase called, I am the catch of the county.
Huh.
And the catch of the county is like, for me, I have to ask myself honestly, if Jessie was to die today, wake up and bump her head and decide to be crazy enough to leave me, like if for some reason Jessie's out of my life, would I have 100 women at my door trying to become the next Mrs. Yackey? If I can say with my heart of hearts, yeah, then you're the catch of the county. And the goal is to be the catch of the county.
Absolutely.
So you're right. 95 to 98% of it is the exact same for a single dude.
Keith, I really appreciate your insights. This has been a great time listening to you and tell your stories and tell your 5 dials. And I hope our audience, the achiever, is really taking this to heart, because I think it's those guys that are out there that are the achiever that can struggle with these things, because they are being that businessman of the year. They're being the successful guy, but they're not being that successful at home. And I think that's a huge lesson I want everybody to hear from today.
Amen, man. Yeah, we've got guys worth $500 million in our group, and we've got guys just starting out their entrepreneurial journey, and high achievers in C-suites and executives all across the board. And the number one thing for all of them is, I know how to achieve in every other area, and I keep striking out here. And man, when this thing is on, when that marriage and that flow is on, a guy really does believe he can take on the world, and he's probably not wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Well,
fantastic. Fantastic.
thank you for having me on, man. Is there any way I can point them to, if they want to hear more?
Absolutely. Where should we go to find you?
The best way is to get on my email newsletter at marriedgame.com, or keithyackey.com has a lot of different things that I say and do on there. Some of my speeches, a lot of podcasts, other podcasts that I've been on. And then if they're on social media, at Keith Yackey on Instagram is where we really shine our magic.
Wonderful. Well, any last tips for our audience, the achiever, that you want to share with us?
I would say this. I know that this is the most frustrating problem a guy can go through when he's going through it. And he feels absolutely alone. It feels hopeless. And he's stuck between what he believes are 2 very, very hard spots. One, the rock is, I'm in not a sexless marriage, but not a really fulfilling marriage. And I don't know what to do because I can't fix her. So he doesn't know how to fix it. And on the other hand, he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to split up his family for his kids. And sometimes in some situations, it would go against their religious beliefs. So they've got two things really holding them at knife point, so they don't want to move. So if a man feels very, very stuck, not loved, but doesn't want to be the reason his family breaks up. And the answer is, you can figure this piece out. We figured it out. We have the template. We have the game plan. We have the support system. We have the crew. When you walk into a group and there's 90 other dudes that look just like you, going through the exact same thing as you, and some of them are exceedingly high achievers, and you're like, fuck, I'm not alone. I want the men, and men specifically know they're not alone. Women, you're going through this, send this to your man. You're not alone. There is hope. And the beautiful thing is you don't even need her buy-in. You don't need her to agree to this. You don't need her in any way, shape, or form to fix your relationship. It is you. If we fix you, she will mirror back to you what you want, and you will get everything you want, and you will save your family. And we have a tremendous high success rate. And I just hope that they have hope. If they need to talk to somebody, they can go to that website, marriedgame.com. They can watch it. They can literally book a free call with me and jump on with me, and I can listen to what they're saying and go, oh, dude, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. So like the resource, I'm so stoked that these people have gotten to hear this, and they should thank you eternally. Because when a man's in this problem and he's looking for resources and it all sounds the same and they're not sure, they don't want to do that again, you've brought on a fresh new voice that says, yeah, all that other shit, it's bullshit.
Yep.
Here's the truth. And so thank you, man. Thank you we're all one in this game, and I'm a little further down the path than most guys. And it is an honor to be able to share that trail with them and to know that there's total hope and it can be better than it's ever been.
Keith, I really appreciate your time. I love it. I love the insights. I love your encouragement and the belief that we can get through this. And I think that's the belief that we all have to have, and we have to change our game. So I appreciate everything that you've shared with us, and hopefully the audience, the achiever, will reach out to you and get their help as they need it. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Monte, for having me on.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you joining our show on Why Coaching Works. And this is a powerful message today. I hope you take it to heart. We'll see you again next episode. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Why Coaching Works podcast. I hope this episode has helped you see the individual, business, and executive impact, growth, and development that coaching provides. Please take a second to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Each review helps me impact more people just like you and make a difference in this world. See you on the next episode of Why Coaching Works.